Alright, hello and welcome. So, today we're going to be talking about the Ayatan treasures. This is a kind of new way to farm endo, but mostly, in my opinion, for various decoration purposes. So, before we start talking about like how to drain endo out of all this and stuff, let's talk about how to actually get these things in their basic form. So, each week you can get one from Maru, who is on Maru's Bazaar. So, this is on Earth. I think you have to be MR2 to come here. I think you have to unlock trading before you're allowed to go onto this relay. But let's go see Maru and do one of these missions.
Welcome to my bazaar. Tenno from all over the system come here to trade. Need any pointers?
And you can ask her about your Ayatan treasures. This resets on Sundays at your respective reset time. So usually Monday for most of you.
Really? But then again, you probably knew that. Shall we?
Just let her know you're ready.
Oh, that's the spirit. Let's go!
And then she'll give you the mission, which you then just go in your menu and accept. These missions are unique, and basically you're going to be raiding a Void Vault, which, if you have not seen them before, I will unfortunately probably not be able to get footage of each of them, but they're all fairly similar. It's basically just a race to the end for all of them, and it can also be derelict ones, which is important. Looks like we got a regular one.
You know the drill. Get in. Get the Ayatan treasure. Don't get killed. Simple, right?
Alright. So, these enemies are always fairly low level. These guys are... Was that like level 16? Yeah. They're very low level. If you bring pretty much any tank, even a modicum of survivability, you should be totally fine. And they shouldn't really be able to mess with you. You can kind of just race to the end, which is what I would suggest doing. Although, I will say,
I stumbled across an Oregon codex.
you can get some good mods from containers here and such.
Ayatan treasures. Unfortunately for you, it was also known for its deadly security apparatus.
Also worth noting that as long as you bring a survivable Warframe that's relatively fast, you don't really have to worry about the survival thing. Although, there are certain rooms where you don't want to be as Warframes that are immune to crowd control, such as Nezha or Rhino.
Well, this should be fun. Maybe you should stretch first.
And I believe this is one of them. Alright, so, obviously this one will be very specific. Straight through here, onto this button. Give it a second, door will open. Hit this button. Oh, this is the very straightforward one. This will just open up and then it's a race to the end. This is a bit of an older one, so you can kind of just bullet jump straight to here.
My, oh my, I think you found it.
And they'll have an Ayatan sculpture. Worth noting that you should definitely always grab these crates that are here, because there's quite a few of them. So there's not really much of a reason to not open these up, because these can contain the stars that you're going to be needing for these sculptures, just like that. So this is an amber one. There are amber and cyan stars, and they can come from lockers or containers. Both of them have the same drop chance, I believe. I think it's 1.5% per container, which is actually pretty good. You'll get them more often than you might expect with just that number in your head. But yeah, and those go inside the sculptures, which we'll get out of here and show.
Now bring it home.
But yeah, the various Orokin puzzles have the sculptures at the end for Maru's quest only. It's worth noting that if you just go to the Void and get these rooms, they do not guarantee an Ayatan sculpture. Ayatan sculptures just kind of out in the wild seem to be pretty analogous to rare crates. So for me, since my luck has been not great with the sculptures, I've only seen one in a raid. But from what I've heard, they're relatively common in the raid, and that might have something to do with rare crates being fairly common in the raid as well. Alright, so we've got our Ayatan Vaya sculpture, and now we'll head back to the ship. Alright, so one thing to note before we head back to the ship. Maru is the one you can have extract endo from your various items. So cyans are worth 50, ambers are worth 100, and the sculptures are various costs, which goes up whenever you put the stars inside it. Luckily, we will be able to see just how much it goes up on the ship. Worth noting, they're actually fairly valuable. These add a good amount of endo that you'll have just from randomly running around in missions, and now they're marked very well on the map, so it's hard to miss them. Basically, if you see the icon for those pop up, be sure and go grab them. Alright, so now that we're back on our ship, we can head right down here, over to the modding station. And there's this new Ayatan sculpture area. So we can take our Vaya sculpture, and obviously I have Amber and Cyan stars out the waz right now. And you'll have your Ayatan Vaya sculpture here. So this one takes 2 Cyans and an Amber. So we'll just start throwing this in here. Went from 400 to 750. And remember that that Cyan star is usually only worth 50. In this case, it adds 350 of value. Considerably more on that one. And then for completion, up to 1800. Which is obviously quite a bit more than these stars are worth just by themselves. And of course the statue as well. Each of the statues animate. I only have 3 of them so far, but I will show all of them to you. And as a bonus, for those of you that are not so much into farming endo this way, which I think that there are definite better ways to do so, these are decorations for your ship. So I have this one, which is 3 Cyan stars. And I have this one, which is an Amber and 3 Cyans. I do not have all of them yet, unfortunately. But yeah, those are Ayatan sculptures. Be on the lookout for them. And that's kind of how they work. You can use them for endo or for decoration. I think they're a pretty good addition to the endo system. And also, of course, you can sell them in trade for platinum, which seems pretty common right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow.